Good afternoon, Easton. I am Carrie Rapolo, and this is the Shoveltown Scoop. Today is January 22nd, 2016. On Tuesday, January 19th, the Audit Committee met with the DPW Director, David Field, to get a scope of the total budget that the DPW is allocated every budget year. They discussed the proposal to hire a full-time engineer and plumber on staff and to review the building maintenance study. Here he is discussing the benefits of hiring a full-time engineer to oversee projects in the town and how it would translate to an overall savings.
In your position, I looked at one project we did where we hired a consultant to do some really pretty simple work. You design up a sidewalk extension for Lincoln Street. We paid Beta Consultants $33,000, which is a fair, it's a going rate. But I estimate that's something we could have done in-house in about 3 to 4 weeks. And if we did, 4 of those type of projects a year, we would probably save $130,000.
The Audit Committee, along with David Field, then discussed trash removal costs, the operating budget for maintaining buildings, and the total budget for the DPW. We will continue to televise the audit meetings. As always, you can watch them on eastoncat.org under Government Meetings. On Thursday, January 14th, Dr. Keogh presented the school committee 3 options for varying start times for the high school, middle school, and elementary schools. This comes from a discussion about pushing back the start times for the middle and the high schoolers, as recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics. A subcommittee was formed back in September to start discussing viable options for the Easton Public School system that would allow for later start times, taking into consideration busing conflicts and costs. Here is a 2-minute video from Dr. Keogh's presentation.
We came up with 3 possible considerations. These are just the considerations of the start time committee. They are not the school committee's position, and they're just the ones that we, after much debate, came up with as possibilities. 1, pre-K starts at 7:25, pre-K to 5, I should say, all of them. And middle school and high school start at 8:05. The challenge? We need additional buses because we couldn't run those 2 big runs at the same time. And a bus is roughly
about $70,000 a piece.
So if we had to add buses at $70,000 a piece, it would add up really fast. Option number 2, middle and high school start at 8 o'clock, grades 3 to 5 start at 8:35, and pre-K to 2 start at 9:05. The challenge with this is it's a really tight bus schedule, and it's a later start for pre-K to 2. 9 o'clock to me is the current start time. I think that's late, so it's just getting later. Especially knowing what we just talked about, that now they've been alert for 2.5, 3 hours, and they're starting at 9:05, and they're tired at the end of the day. It shows up on the other end that they wear out faster. Option number 3, grade 3 to 5 start at 7:25. High school and middle school start at 7 a.m. 8 a.m. Pre-K to 2 start at 8:45. The challenge with this is the 3 to 5 students would start earlier, requiring potential child care adjustments for families. And so the conclusion of the committee, after much debate, was to go with the 3rd option, and the rationale for that was the intermediate age children will begin school when their brains are more active, which is early. Middle and high school age students will start school later, allowing for better rest and better health, both mental and physical, and the pre-K to 2 students will start 15 minutes earlier, which is developmentally more appropriate.
It was the first time that the school committee members had been presented with this information and will be mulling over a decision over the next few meetings to discuss what could be a new start time for the Easton Public Schools as early as September. At the same meeting, Dr. Keogh presented per pupil expenditures, rankings, and budget. Let's take a quick look at his discussion on rankings and the importance of where Easton falls in that range.
What I did was I took the top of that list, the top 10 communities, and then I took Easton's numbers and compared our average class sizes, compared our per pupil expenditures. And it's my argument for saying there is a link between the amount of money spent and rankings. And rankings do matter. I downplay them as best I can, and some rankings are better than others. Some rankings rely on 10 comments from parents for a rating on whether or not the parents like it. Well, that's not exactly good evidence. But other rankings look, like that Boston Magazine ranking looks at a lot of measures. It looks at SATs, it looks at APs, it looks at MCAS, it looks at class sizes, how much you spend on the schools. It's a pretty good ranking. And they are considered, and I think could potentially be used against our students when they apply to school. People know, the college admissions officers, of which my daughter is one, know darn well where kids are coming from.
He then continues on to explain about the budget concerns that he has for the Easton Public Schools and the need for an override. Because of what little funds are left in the stabilization account, if an override does not pass, the 2% that is left will not even cover the 3.5% needed to cover teacher salaries. Let's take a look at him talking about that.
Now, the direction from the town is that funds are just not there. And there's a real issue in town, folks, because we have constantly relied on the town to kind of help us to increase our budget. And the way we've done it is they have tapped free cash or stabilization money. But it's run out. It's not available. And I think if it was, my guess is that the town manager would suggest to the selectmen, let's use some of that stabilization money. What little is left, I believe they want to dedicate to helping us out. But that still leaves us at 2%. So, a 2% increase. But you see that we're at 3.7 just to pay for our teachers and our transportation. So that's a problem. On our list that was approved by the school committee, we had guidance counselor at Easton Middle School, a special ed coordinator at Easton Middle School, an adjustment counselor and sped teacher at the high school. That is for a therapeutic program. So we do have kids, unfortunately, who are not doing well. They're melting down, and if they don't make it, we're going to have to send them out to get their education. And that's more money. That's that out-of-district tuition cost, plus transportation.
If you'd like to take a look at the entire school committee meeting, we do have it available on our website, and that is eastoncat.org. So moving on to some more school news, a reminder that on February 4th, 5:30 p.m., the school committee will hold a question and answer session regarding the proposed school start times for parents and anyone in the community that would like to have more information. Also, school vacation is coming up the week of February 15th, so make sure you have that down on your calendars. And let's take a look at the upcoming Oliver Ames winter sports schedule over the next couple of weeks. All right, so coming up this weekend, we have a couple of exciting events. The Easton Lions Club is hosting their annual skate swap at the Yardley Rink, which is located on Depot Street next to the center school. All proceeds will benefit the water and electrical bills to help keep the rink open. We also have the Moms Club of Easton hosting their annual Winter Carnival. That's going to be over at Maplewood, and that's from 10 to 1:30. It is $20 per family with free pizza, snacks, and beverages. And if you prefer to be outside and enjoy the upcoming snowfall, you can head over to the NRT for their annual Winter Expo. That's going to start at 10 a.m., goes until 2 p.m., and they will host a variety of outdoor activities along with crafters and local vendors. And of course, don't forget the New England Patriots face off against Denver in the AFC Championship game this Sunday the 24th, starting at 3:05. And some ECAT news. We have some new shows that are going to be airing tonight and over the weekend. We have an all-new The Show with Stephanie and Meredith and a special celebrity guest that's going to air tonight at 7 p.m. We also have the Middle School Geography Bee airing on our education channel, which is 24 for Verizon subscribers and 97 for the Comcast subscribers. And that should do it for this week's Scoop. We're going to take you out with some Oliver Ames sports footage. Good night, everybody.